What's happening, everyone? It's Fantasy Friday. Time to do a mock rookie draft. Let's get into it. So, guys, thank you for joining us today. We're doing a Dynasty rookie startup style draft. With the draft just happening, I know a lot of pages are going to be having their drafts coming up. So, it's very important to get some of this content out. But I could not do it alone. We have some pages here that I would like to shout out. We got Fantasy Football Island, 12th Man Fantasy Football. We have Next Level Fantasy Football, The Labisco Show, Laces Out, Fantasy Mentor IG, Junkie Nation. We got some friends. Go for Two Fantasy Football. If you guys look below, we have their Instagram handles. They'll be going on the bottom here. So follow these guys. They all give really great content. It's been a real joy getting to know a lot of these guys. So we're going to begin this draft now. Let me get this up to start. And 1.1, this is going to be very interesting. Two guys that, in my opinion, landed in great spots. We got Clyde Edwards-Helaire. We got Jonathan Taylor. Both guys I really love. I am going to go with Clyde Edwards-Helaire here, though. I think that he is definitely a great pick at the 1.1. Cam Akers going at 1.2. I don't think I would pick him ahead of Jonathan Taylor, but he has a lot of potential. He has a lot of upside. So you could definitely think about taking him maybe in the 3 spot, maybe in the 4, as I think he got a better landing spot than DeAndre Swift. But I don't really like having hold on, there's a technical issue. Oh, they got it in. Yeah, I don't really like him over Jonathan Taylor. I think he's a very good player, Cam Akers, but I don't think that he should be picked over Jonathan Taylor. That offensive line for the Rams just hasn't been good last year. They were not good. This year, they're okay. They didn't really draft anyone, though, so I don't really know how that's going to work. Swift going 1.4. Of course, the running backs are going to go off the board. Swift, I talked a lot about him. He has a lot of talent, but I don't like the landing spot as much. He should be able to compete. It's just from a historical sense, Detroit really has not been a great landing spot for running backs. We have J.K. Dobbins at 1.7. In between, we got CeeDee Lamb and Henry Ruggs. Great wide receivers. Ruggs, I like him because he landed in Las Vegas. He could be a deep threat there. He's the number 1 clear guy. Lamb, he landed in Dallas, which a lot of people may not like, but they're going to use a lot of 3 wide receiver sets. If you guys look here, I'm also having the chat go a little bit. Some of these guys are giving really good advice. I didn't want to leave that out. But Lamb, they're going to have a lot of 3 wide receiver sets there. Dobbins, in terms of Dynasty, this is a Dynasty rookie mock. Great pick because if he doesn't develop this year or he doesn't get a lot of touches, I still think next year he's going to start. I think he's going to be a great weapon in that offense. We got a little wide receiver run, and this is definitely expected after these 5 or so running backs. You're going to have a wide receiver run. Jefferson, Judy, Rieger, Mims, T. Higgins. 5 guys that are great, in my opinion. They either with landing spots or talent. Jefferson, I loved him coming in. He landed in a really good spot. Judy, he was my top wide receiver on the board. Landing in Denver, I thought it would hurt him at first, but they seem to be going towards a really pass-heavy offense. So I really like the idea of Judy being there because he should get his target share and he should get a lot of touchdowns if Drew Lock develops. Rieger, perfect landing spot. Can't really argue him there. That's a great pick. Mims, again, he's another guy who fell a little bit, but landed in a terrific spot on the Jets. He'll be the clear-cut #1 receiver. T. Higgins, he has the talent. He has Joe Burrow moving forward. And he stacked him here, which is terrific. In a regular rookie draft, if you don't have it start up, you're not going to be going snake. I just kind of put it this way because the snake flow is mostly for people starting up. It can really help them out. You got Ayuk, great receiver. I don't really like the landing spot as much, but he could develop into the second or third weapon there. Going back, though, like I said, this stack is going to be good. Vaughn, he landed in a terrific spot. Definitely could see a ton of touches. He could beat out Ronald Jones, in my opinion. I love that pick. Chenault, he had that injury concern, but I talked about him. He's very versatile. In that Jacksonville offense, he could be used very effectively. Claypool, great player. I didn't really like the landing spot as much, but it depends how they use him. I think that they have a lot of weapons there, but definitely he could thrive if he starts out hot. Zach Moss, Michael Pittman. I'm going to be coming up, so let me look at some of my picks here. Darrynton Evans, I'm going to talk about him too a little bit. Quarterbacks here. See, I'm a type of guy that if you're sold on a quarterback, definitely try to take him in round 2, especially if they're going to start. I think that they could definitely make fantasy impacts like a guy like Joe Burrow. He could be a top 10 quarterback next year potentially with all his weapons. Tua, depends if they use him. We'll see. Herbert, maybe he gets in. Let's see here. Zach Moss, another guy who I really liked, landed in an okay spot. It looks like they're having some issues here. Let me see if I could pause the draft for a second. So I'm doing this live on the spot. So we got a little bit more time here. Darrynton Evans. This is a guy that's from a smaller school. He's very shifty. I think he could be a very good pass-catching back. Being in that Tennessee offense, I talked about it a lot. Derrick Henry, to me, could have some type of injury concerns. He's a very bruising downhill runner. So I would not be surprised if he gets hurt. Duvernay, great pick. I'm not as high on A.J. Dillon, but getting him here is very good. And then I'm going to go Bryan Edwards. So Bryan Edwards is a player that I was very high on, yet he got hurt. I think that kind of dropped his stock a little bit. And he's the type of guy for that offense who could definitely turn in a very good performance on a week in and week out. Yes, they have Ruggs, but Ruggs I see more as that burner down the field. Edwards, in my opinion, can be that physical presence that team needs, and he could really dominate opposing cornerbacks. Let's see here. A.J. Dillon, going back to him. I'm not a big fan of him in that offense, but in this spot at 2.12, I couldn't pass that up, especially if they get rid of Aaron Jones next year. It's his last year on his contract. Moving forward, he could have an impact, but definitely not this year. Antonio Gibson, another guy that landed in a really good spot. Even if you're not a fan of him, I think he's someone to definitely watch out for. Really, in these third rounds, you're trying to find good landing spots or guys who you think that can develop. KJ Hamler, great landing spot. They have a lot of weapons, but maybe he becomes that deep threat guy with his speed. Gandy Golden, love the guy, very physical. I think that he could be a very good player for that Redskins team if he could develop over time. Eno Benjamin, that's a little bit of a surprise. Benjamin was a guy who I liked coming out of college, but once we saw his stock dip to the 7th round, uh, I don't know if you can invest a lot of draft capital in a guy. 3rd round value is not bad. I've seen him go in the 4th round. They do have a few guys, like Kenyon Drake, Chase Edmonds in the backfield, but Drake is on a 1-year deal. Maybe Benjamin slides into that role in 2 years. A guy that I missed was Devin Duvernay. Great guy. Speed receiver. I think he could be really good in the slot for Baltimore. Trautman is going to be a very good pass-catching tight end. I worry a little bit about his blocking. He does need to get a little better in that aspect. But for a pass-catching tight end in a PPR league, if he could develop in that Saints offense, he could be scary. McFarland, another guy who landed in a really good spot. I think that he could be a very good player if James Conner gets hurt, or if maybe they move on from James Conner after the offseason. Albert O lands in a very crowded tight end situation with Noah Fant, but he does have some previous history with Drew Lock, so I do like him there. Van Jefferson, good pick, a lot of mouths to feed on the Rams, but he has the talent to potentially move into that 3rd spot, and they run a lot of 3 wide receiver sets. Cole Kmet, top tight end drafted, has a lot of draft capital. The Bears, not the best landing spot, but depends on how you view their quarterback situation. If they could get a quarterback, then he'll be okay. If Mitch Trubisky does not continue to succeed, if Nick Foles does not step up, whoever they start, that could definitely hurt him. Jalen Hurts, very good pick there. I don't know if I would pick him over Jordan Love, but for the 3rd round, he could definitely develop. Joshua Kelly, he could definitely take some touches. I mean, Melvin Gordon's not there, so no complaints. Donovan Peoples-Jones, he's a very intriguing prospect. To me, he was the type of guy that had a ton of physical talent. You could just see it for him. But he never really produced in college. Going to Cleveland behind 2 very quality receivers, he could definitely develop over the next few years if he could get his attitude straight. And he could be someone to watch out for. Lynn Bowden Jr., he's a very versatile player. I'd be very excited to see how that Vegas Raider team uses him. It's very interesting. Perrine, very good pick in the 4th round. We don't know what Bell's status moving forward is, so he could definitely get some touches. Tyler Johnson in that crowded Tampa Bay receiving core. Again, in these later rounds, you're just looking to try to get guys to develop in good landing spots. He could definitely develop into someone. Maybe this guy autoed it look like because he doesn't have the green circle there. So DJ Dallas, you never know. Chris Carson could get hurt. I like that. Jordan Love there in the 4th round is a steal. Even in non-super flex leagues, I think that moving forward, he could be a definite QB1. So again, for all the guys down in the chat, thank you for going in the chat. Sorry I didn't really participate as I was trying to get some recording here. This is just a great way to really shore up your dynasty leagues, is to mock with people that know what they're talking about. Again, Fantasy Football Island, 12th Man Fantasy Football. You got Next Level Fantasy Football, Lepisco Show, Laces Out Fantasy Football, Fantasy Football Mentor, Junkie Nation, and Go for 2 Fantasy Football. Those are a lot of the accounts that I interact with on a daily basis. Great guys. Then we have some guys who are friends of the pages. Thank you guys for joining. Let me try to scroll down a little bit here. James Prochet, I really like him too. Thaddeus Moss, he's a very intriguing player who you could potentially get on waivers maybe or late in the 4th round. I like that pick. Cephas, who am I going to go with here? I'm going to go with Gabriel Davis. Let's just check a little bit, see who's here. See if I could do this. It's tough when I have to do two screens here. We'll go Gabriel Davis. Try to draft him. I think Davis could definitely be a factor in this league. So thank you again, guys, for all of you guys who joined. I highly appreciate it. For those watching, give these guys all a follow. Great pages. And I'll talk to you guys soon. We'll be doing a lot of rookie rankings moving forward. So definitely keep tuning into the page. Thank you, guys.